What's up, guys? Your boy, 22K13. Gonna give you guys a 7 up and 10 down from last night WWE Raw, June 29th. This comes from WhatCulture.com. During the Monday Night War, ratings were broken down by the quarter hour to determine which segment were working and which wasn't. If something were causing fans to flip channel to the competition, it probably wouldn't be seen on television again, at least not in the same form. That insane level of scrutiny was neurotic, but it also kept the writers and talent on their collective toes. Without that competition today, WWE Raw had fallen into some trapping that would have spelled doom 15 years ago. Lengthy, boring opening promos, DQ finishing galore, and main event that end without a conclusive finish and or a group beatdown. Fans got some of that Monday night, but the show was bloated by an incredible match in the middle of the program between John Cena and Cesaro. It also didn't hurt that the tremendous Kevin Owens was on commentary, but overall Monday Night Raw produced some exciting moments, aided by a red-hot crowd. In other instances, that leaves you scratching your head. The build to Battleground, which is 3 weeks away, slowed down as no new matches were announced and existing feud was simply reinforced that left Raw as a placeholder more than anything. So what flew high and what treaded water? Let's find out. Down. Number 10. A standalone show. In Sunday's Burning Question column, the question was posed whether WWE would incorporate the upcoming special event from Tokyo, Japan into Raw, using Monday's show to set up a couple of the matches that were expected. Normally, house show cards aren't set up like that, but seeing how this is being aired live on the WWE Network is a different situation. For example, Brock Lesnar is scheduled to face Kofi Kingston, and Dolph Ziggler and John Cena are teaming up to battle Kane and King Barrett. Chris Jericho is also on the card. A simple mention could help establish that these matches are taking place for a reason rather than appearing to be completely at random. The only real plug beyond the ad that aired was during the John Cena-Cesaro match, when Michael Cole asked Kevin Owens about defending his NXT Championship against Finn Balor in Tokyo. Additionally, Seth Rollins did mention that Lesnar was boarding a plane to fly to Japan while licking his wounds from last week. But seeing how Rollins isn't on that tour, that only serves to further their Battleground title match. Number 9. This is the segment that never ends. One of the biggest criticisms that often is levied against Raw is that the opening segment seems to go on forever. You can have a 15-minute opening promo, but if it's good, and it certainly doesn't feel as interminable. Unfortunately, Monday opening with the Authority was a 17-minute affair that felt at least twice as long. It started out okay with Seth Rollins showing his shot as a gloating champ, but it quickly devolved into the longest, most drawn-out stuck-up in history. Rollins presented J&J Security and Kane with Apple Watches, sent Kane on a vacation to Hawaii, and bought J&J a new Cadillac to replace the beat-up rental they drive. It went on for so long, and Rollins did his best Price is Right description of the car, that you felt like something had to happen, but nothing did. It was just an ungodly long segment. Put it this way, if this was during the Monday Night War and this led off Raw, everyone would turn to Nitro and WCW would win the night. Number 8. Are you tough enough to make it through all the commercial bumpers? The content buried of Tough Enough during Raw might have been enough to either convince everyone to tune in or not watch just out of spite. While it's true that WWE had a right to repeatedly showcase its own program, the company seemed to be taking it to Extreme Monday. airing a commercial nearly every week about the latest season, which got underway last week. Either WWE is nervous about the first episode rating, or they are making sure that anyone who tuned in late to Raw catches word about the show. The question is, if ratings drop, will WWE do more during Raw to try to boost tough enough ratings? Number 7. The Authority B- team. Remember how the Authorities used to come out in force? Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, Kane, Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, and J&J? The Authority rolled so deep that Jamie Noble and Jody Mercury were almost never referenced, much less viewed as central components of the group. They were ancillary to the Authority, Rollins' hanger-on. Currently, how often do they all come out together? Triple H and Stephanie tend to stay in the back these days, leaving the remaining foursome to come out as the Authority, and with Big Show now apparently demoted to being part of the Authority extended family, as Michael Cole described him. You have the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, a monster who has lost 80% of his televised matches this year, and a duo that is constantly referred to as Hobbit. Anyone else getting the feeling that this is like the NWO B- team, the collection of scrap left over when the two NWO factions merged? They most incompetent, lose a lot, and don't really have much star power to them. Whether they're intended or not, if you started to get that perception, it's a really bad thing. Either injecting some new blood into the group or something else is needed to shake it up. Number 6. It keeps going and going. Maybe the NWO comparison isn't all that far off. For the second week in a row, Monday Night Raw ended with the Authority putting a lengthy beatdown on someone who was in the WrestleMania 31 main event. Last week, Brock Lesnar's knee was detonated with a steel chair. This week, Roman Reigns was beaten by the 4 Authority members who aren't major shareholders in WWE. That beating lasted for 7 minutes. 7. We saw 3 matches that combined probably didn't run that long. Why do we need 7 minutes of 4 guys beating down one man? And then after putting Roman through a table, Bray Wyatt come down to deliver Sister Abigail. Maybe that's supposed to show how tough Reigns is, but looked more like the Authority were ineffective at putting Roman down, and it was eerily similar to the old NWO beatdown that went on forever at the end of Nitro. Those got old quickly too, so that much hasn't changed. Number 5. Quad City. Mark Henry used to be a world heavyweight champion, a dangerous man who inducted several wrestlers into his Hall of Fame. We're less than 4 years removed from that gimmick, and he's been reduced to jobbing in less than 3 minutes. No one would take Henry as a serious threat right now. He's about to part with the Great Khali in terms of beating a big man. It shouldn't be a big deal because everyone can do it. It really is a shame to watch. Henry might be injury prone and slowing down, but sending him out there to job week after week does nothing but ruin his reputation. Perhaps New Day could recruit him to be some additional muscle. Maybe Bo Dallas could use a tag team partner to help fill out the tag rank. Anything would be better than this. Number 4. Look like a rerun. Repetition moves are a mixed bag. Hitting your opponent with the same move over and over can either inflict a tremendous chill or a deafening boom. Case in point, Cesaro hitting someone with 10 rapid-fire European uppercuts often get a pretty good reaction. Brock Lesnar launching John Cena with 16 German suplexes brought the crowd to its feet. But when Scott Steiner hit Triple H with a half-dozen overhead suplexes at Royal Rumble 2003, the crowd turned on him and the match because it was all Big Papa Pump had in the tank. The lesson is to not go to the well with the same move over and over unless you get the desired reaction. Otherwise, it looks like you a one-trick pony. Sadly, Darren Young missed the memo as he hit three, count 'em, three, butt drop on prone opponent, and then follow them up with Hogan XQ back rake. Yes, back rake in 2015. What makes this work is that Young is part of a tag team and was actually in an 8-man tag match, which means he wasn't competing in a 20-minute singles match. He only needed a few moments of offense, and half of his move involved that unconvincing flurry. Hopefully someone will talk to him and have those moves either minimized or eliminated altogether, especially the back break. Number 3. Sound like a rerun. The pitfall and pinnacle of repetition applies to announcers as well. Some announcers made an entire career by repeating the same catchphrase over and over. Jim Ross, my God, is so iconic in part because he yelled it so often and so convincingly. But JBL demonstrated Monday night that the tank was empty as Raw was on. During the Neville vs. Sheamus match, he blurted out 3 times in a 5-minute span something along the line of, enjoy Neville while you can, because you don't know how long he'll be around. It was in reference to the danger of his high-risk style, but that didn't make it any better, unless Vince was in his ear telling him to say it repeatedly. Someone needs to tell him to stop saying it after the second time it happened. It's little things like those that can take you out of the moment, which is never a good feeling. Number 2, his delusionalness. King Barrett's descent into delusion is continuing at an alarming rate. After winning a halfly assembled King of the Ring tournament, Barrett is convinced he's a real king and can give royal decrees. Monday, Barrett insisted that his opponent bow down to him before each match. Somehow it's tough to take the guy who has lost repeatedly to the guy carrying a plunger and wearing a paper crown seriously. Previous wrestling kings have made similar proclamations, but if you look at the most successful King of the Ring, they didn't spend much trying to get people to genuflect. They used the King of the Ring victory as a springboard for their career. For King Barrett, there doesn't seem to be a springboard, just a bug-going feud with the plunger wearing R-Truth. At least he beat the happily former world champion, Jack Swagger, Monday. And number 1, stunningly bad. This is long overdue, and it really needs to be said. John Cena needs to stop using the springboard stunner now. When Cena busted the move out at WrestleMania 31, it looked like a special move that he broke out for the occasion, but it has now become an everyday transition move, something he hit in almost every match and doesn't score a pinfall off. Most of all, it looked sloppy as hell. The move looked forced to begin with, as Cena had to find a way to incorporate it into the match. But then it just really hit clean. Think about it. Cena springs backward off the rope and reaches back, trying to grab his opponent's head without really looking. Then he has to hit a stunner. It's awful. If this was any other wrestler, there's no way they let him continue to use the maneuver. Please, for all that is holy, just stop John. You have an incredible repertoire and are a great performer. Don't drag things down with a springboard stunner. Retire it now. Up. Number 7, mic check. To be fair, Kevin Owens warned us. Before the John Cena vs. Cesaro match began, Owens said that he was going to be the guy to take the United States Championship from Cena. So it should have been no surprise when the NXT champion ran into the ring and beat up both men, causing a DQ. In between that, Owens sat in on commentary and continued to show why he's the best thing going on WWE television, save for Brock Lesnar. He set aside the announcer for disrespecting Cesaro and not paying attention to the match. He constantly rebuffed Michael Cole and Baron Stassion, antagonizing, telling them that it's not a chip on my shoulder. It's called confidence. The best part came when Owens fed up with everything, took off the headset and walked around to the front of the table, taking a casual swipe and Cole. He then walked back to his seat, put on the headset and told him that it was a warning shot. Instead of beating up the announcer or just yelling at them ineffectively, he kept his cool and showed that he could get to Cole, which is probably scarier in some way. Number 6. Lana gets physical. You have to wonder if fans will ever see the ravishing Russian get involved physically in the ring. Monday we got our answer as Lana tangled with her ex-new squeeze, Summer Rae. Sure, it was just your typical WWE catfight with two women rolling around on the mat, grabbing hair and banging the other head on the mat. But it's the most physical Lana has been since her debut, unless you count getting knocked off the apron at WrestleMania 31. It gave a hint that we could see Lana in the ring competing at some point. Then again, it could just have been a way to get fans to cheer louder for her. One thing is for sure, this was the only real highlight from the segment, as Dolph Ziggler and Lana dragging out the fact that they are a couple now was not doing it. Rusev handled his own on the mic, and it wasn't a bad segment, but Lana and Summer Rae definitely were the highlight. Number 5. Bray throw hands. After weeks of watching Bray Wyatt playing mind games with Roman Reigns, it was good to see him physically mix it up with the Juggernaut. The backstage vignette and promo, creepy rocking chair, tea party, and photo with Roman eyes and mouth cut out can only go so far in a feud like this. You're going to need more to sell fans. Wyatt had to get physical at some point, and this was as good of a time as any. The concern was that WWE was treading down the road toward involving Reigns' daughter in person as part of the physiological ploy, and it still could happen, but having Bray appear out of the darkness to assault Reigns is a better angle. It's pretty obvious that Roman is going to triumph in this angle overall, but that doesn't mean that Wyatt can mentally and physically torment him in the interim. Number 4. Alicia Fox, Greater Bella. While the backstory for Alicia Fox partnering with the Bella Twin is thin, the reason is a fair assumption. WWE would like to call up two NXT women, presumably Charlotte and Sasha Banks, to Backpage, so there need to be 3 opponents for them to face. Additionally, Fox likely becomes the team member who takes the loss in most of the Bella's Army matches. The problem is that Alicia showed Monday night that she's better in the ring than either Bella's sister. Paige had faced off against Nikki and Bella multiple times, and they had clunker throughout, but she and Fox had a pretty solid match that had fans involved throughout. Fox hit some nice moves. She always had a good Northern Light suplex, and it took a war backbreaker, and unlike her cohort, she wasn't afraid to play heel, pulling hair, grabbing Paige's nose, etc. Unlike the more obvious Bella, Alicia Fox did nice work defining herself, and the result was a match that got a good reaction. Imagine that. Number 3. 30 years of Hulkamania. For anyone over the age of 35, the iconic 1985 Sports Illustrated cover with Hulk Hogan is a big deal. It was the first time a professional wrestler graced the cover of the magazine, and it signaled that wrestling was becoming a major industry in the United States. That cover also meant more mainstream exposure for the then WWF and the profession itself. So seeing the cover and Hogan reenacting the famous pose as part of Sports Illustrated Where Are They Now segment had to give older fans goosebumps. Had it really been 30 years since we first saw Hulkamania run wild across mainstream America? While the business has seen its ups and downs since then, it's impossible to deny the impact that the exposure in those early days of the rock and wrestling era had on the industry. This magazine cover was an important piece of that puzzle. Number 2. Tearing down the house. As much criticism that fans levy against John Cena, you have to give him a ton of credit for his ability to turn out incredible matches and give fans something to enjoy. Monday night, Cena and Cesaro put on an amazing match that had fans out of their seats cheering, not just for the Swiss Superman, but for the performance from both men. It's been stated before that Cena enjoyed working with Cesaro, and it really showed as John gave Cesaro a ton of offense and stole it like he was dead half the match. He recovered enough and hit enough big moves of his own so Cesaro could show his resilience too. Despite having Kevin Owens out to remind fans that he and Cena have a United States Championship title match in 3 weeks, the crowd still bought into the near falls. That's the sign of a great match. You have to hope that this means something for the recently singles in terms of losing his tag team partner, Tyson Kidd, for a year. Cesaro, but this is WWE. However, number one, how that for connecting with the fans. During the infamous Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast with Vince McMahon, Austin asked Vince about Cesaro and why he wasn't rocking it up the card. It was obvious Stone Cold is a fan of the Swiss Superman, but McMahon coolly answered that Cesaro didn't really connect with the fans, questioning the X Factor. Well, whereas Monday night was a barometer, Cesaro was connecting in a way that he hadn't since around WrestleMania 30, when he won the inaugural Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Fans started clamoring for the Cesaro swing, and when he signaled for it, then went ape. When Cena locked in an STF and Cesaro countered and turned it into a sharpshooter, fans went berserk. Fans cheered for every big power move Cesaro landed and booed when the match ended in a disqualification. The bottom line is Cesaro can't connect with the fans, and they want to buy him as a star. WWE has to do its part and invest in him. He and Kidd turned their tag team into a top act, and now perhaps the same can happen in single competition. Well, that's it, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys on the next one. Peace.